Hello and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
We are here with Tyler Haag. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're excited. I'm excited to learn more about your new album that just came out, Aim True.
Yep.
It's you got a lot of emotion going on in that album.
Yeah, very much.
So I'm because I'm Minnesotan, I don't want to just say whoa. But I was like, that seems like it's either a collection of a lot of stories or you've gone through a lot. Or tell us about the album, Tyler.
So yeah, I did go through a lot. I mean, who didn't over the
Right.
last year or whatever, but yeah, I got separated from my wife, and I over the last 4 years stopped drinking. So there was a lot going on, and I wasn't writing songs for a long stretch. In that, basically 5 years, I didn't write any songs. So then when all of this stuff started happening, I started writing songs, and it was it happened very quickly. It was I wrote the whole record in a matter, it was 2 or 3 weeks. I wrote the entire thing.
Wow.
And then basically just was adding on to it after that. I started it thinking it was going to be just demos and I was going to use it to write some songs. And it sounded really good, and all of a sudden kind of took on its own kind of a life of its own. And yeah, all of a sudden I had 10 songs, and then I kind of trimmed that down to 8. And that was basically the entire process. Yeah, it took about a month and a half to record and write and do the whole thing. Was basically a month and a half. And so yeah, I was going through a lot. It was a lot of emotion, and it was some of them are autobiographical, but there's a lot of liberties taken, I guess. It's like the when they make a movie, it's, you can't give them the straight story. It's not good.
What is it? Deniable plausibility, or there's
yeah, that too.
Plausible
exactly.
deniability. Yeah,
yes, exactly.
So it's always good to have a little bit of that. They're I guess it's hard to say they're wonderful stories, but they are wonderful stories. They're not always happy stories, but you really paint a picture of
Thank you.
things that are happening.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's the process is, for me, is very very movie, very film where I kind of see a scenario, and I can kind of write about it as kind of a setting basically, and characters within that and stuff like that. So that's great. I love that you heard the stories, and yeah, that's totally what I'm after. So.
Oh, good. Well, good. And and now just to kind of keep my own timeline straight, but you really did start writing this in the last year during the pandemic.
Definitely. And it was way late in the process. I got furloughed basically, where I was essentially getting paid to not be at work at the beginning of the pandemic. And it was awesome because I got to start working I was writing a lot. I did poetry. I have 2 or 3 books of poetry that I did in that amount of time too. And then at the very tail end, I started writing songs. And yeah, that was basically, it was all poetry for essentially 6-7 months. And then the last month and a half was just the writing and recording of the record. So I heard one of my friends said it's you either go one way or the other. You're either super productive and that's all, you're on it and you're moving, and that was obviously totally what it was like for me. Or you can't do it. It's just there's too much, and it's too much anxiety and stuff, and it's hard for people, creative people, people who are great at it, and have been very productive. Sometimes it's really hard to get that output. I mean, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of outside emotion and stuff involved as well. So I'm thankful that I got to get back into it, because it had been a long time since I had been productive creatively. So I was thrilled to be able to put something on paper, and thrilled to be able to make a record and write songs. It was nice.
I'm always happy to hear always call it the COVID silver linings, that it's an ill wind that blows no man good, as they say.
Yes,
I'm glad it blew you. I'm not going to finish that metaphor, but I'm
no, totally. And I actually was saying that like earlier. It's like I feel I have like a weird amount of guilt because this really was probably the best thing that like could have happened to me. Was I kind of got recalibrated, or my focus for the longest time was money and work, and and it was eating me up. And I wasn't able to do the stuff I love to do. I wasn't able to be creative and productive in a creative sense. So it was amazing for me to have that kind of jarred back to, I feel like I got on the right path again from that standpoint. So yeah, I'm very thankful that it went down the way it did.
That's great. And it seems like the portion, and of course I don't really know what part is autobiographical and what part is artistic liberties, but it seems like that spans not all within the last year, that's been happening in the last 4 or 5 years. Definitely.
Yeah. There's a lot of there's always like a story that kind of builds on itself. Every song kind of has its own. You can try and make it as autobiographical as you want, but there's always something that kind of takes, each song is kind of its own thing in my experience. But yeah, there's a lot of relationship stuff. And I really was, because I hadn't written a song in like 5 years. I mean, I had a lot to go off of. I quit drinking 4 years ago. So I had a lot of ammo for lack of a better term. I had a lot saved up. So it was like I said, it was really, really good for me on a personal level to be able to get that out in like a healthy way with like poetry and writing and
well, I mean, definitely reading between the lines. Mm-hmm. It seems like if you quit drinking, you maybe were probably quite a bit of a drinker before. So it must have been unusual to write and not be drinking.
It was. It definitely was. I think that was a large part of why it took me so long to get back into it, because that really was my process. Like I would go to the bar and listen and hear conversations and kind of have the, inspiration that way. I hear people say that they're like cocktail napkin writers, where it's just like, that's where the inspiration hits them. And I guess I'm kind of like that. I try to have notebooks everywhere. And so when it hits, I can write it down. But yeah, for a long time, that was my process. And when you start taking the Summit EPAs and the PBRs away from that process, it took me a while to get it back together. But yeah, subject matter wise, it was kind of, honestly, it was like freeing a little bit, because I didn't feel like I had to constantly be not explaining, but establishing that I was like barfly, and like that, there was like a certain amount of credibility to me for people who, spend a lot of time in those settings and things like that. And I felt like that was, I don't know, maybe more important than it needed to be. Because when I stopped doing it, it was totally freeing, and I was able to focus on the story and focus on the lyrically being a little bit more direct, I guess, for lack of a better term, like just, being more calculated, I guess, is how I'll put it.
I was going to say, when I was listening to the your album, I can hear, and I'm curious to know if influence, writing your storytelling reminded me of Patterson Hood from Drive-By Truckers. And the way you say things, it brings me just like, I'm like, oh my God, I can hear it. So I wanted to know if that's somebody, but your storytelling is a lot like it. And then when I've seen them play shows, what you were just talking about, he had stated like it's freeing to not have to sit and call everybody and go, sorry for blah, blah, blah. He's like, listen to the song. And I'm wondering if you kind of get the same thing where somebody goes, oh my God, I hear this, or I understand better, or. I don't know if you can relate to that.
Yeah, definitely. I love Drive-By Truckers, Patterson Hood. I love Jason Isbell. Is like one of my favorites ever. And he obviously is like, to me, is like the king of that kind of like storytelling writing. He is so good at it. Yeah, I love that stuff. And yeah, I mean, now it feels like, for me, but before it was like there was almost like a layer of something over it. But yeah, now it feels like these songs are more of a more accurate glimpse into like what I'm thinking about, I guess, for like the process that I'm going through. And I mean, there's definitely some stories or, like characters that are involved trying to tell those stories. But yeah, from a personal standpoint, to be able to articulate a story from my life and put it into a song and have people listen to that and be like, oh, that makes sense to me. Like, I also know what you were thinking. It feels really good. I also I deliberately try and create reference points in my songs that people can relate to. I like cars. Everybody's been in love in a car. Everybody has been in a back seat with a crush. Like it's just one of those things that everybody has. So I like to do that. I like to, put those things into my songs to try and get people to, I guess, to get a wider audience to relate to it in that sense. But yeah, it's my favorite thing when people say that they know what I'm talking about, and I've dealt with that, and that was exactly what I was thinking, when I was going through that. That's like my favorite stuff. But yeah, Drive-By Trucker is one of my favorites. Jason Isbell, Corey Brannon is another one that I like a ton. God, who else? Sturgill Simpson. I've been listening to his like bluegrass album. I don't even know what it's called, but it's the yellow one where he's on the lawnmower. That is just incredible. Rusty Terry.
Losing My Mind. Do you know that one of his on the lawnmower? What? The one you were just talking about? I think it's titled "Losing My Mind."
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that one?
That whole record, front to back, is like that. That entire thing is, I don't even know like songs. I was told, because I'm not super familiar with his like earlier stuff, but it's all songs from those early, from his other records that he does in this like bluegrass style. That whole album is like, those aren't songs. It's like one movement to me. It's like just the song after song after song. I was listening to it at work. I work construction, so I can just throw the headphones on and I would listen to it like 4 times in a row before I would switch it out. But it was always like just the full half hour of that record, like front to back.
I was gonna say the I love that album, but that song "Losing My Mind" is, if you can pull that one separately, because it's
I'm gonna do
crazy
it as soon as
good.
we're done here. As soon as we're done, I'm gonna pull it up, because I'm kind of bummed. I'm kind of bummed that I can't identify it right now, because I have listened to that so much. But yeah, that guy is something else. He's so talented. The way he can tell a story, and man, some of those lyrics about being a musician who's really trying to make it happen and it's not really happening. It's like, he hits the nail on the head on some of those.
Well,
like,
working construction, going through, it's like kind of seems like a parallel here.
Sure. Definitely.
Yeah, when everyone's
actually, he makes me happy, because I heard that he didn't get his thing going until he was 35, and I'm 35, so that makes me happy. It feels like I still got a chance.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's that bluegrass record though. I can't get enough of that. Like, love it.
I love to hear that. I kind of love your lyrics. I'm trying to think of. I have to see which one. Well, first of all, the little plastic bags.
Mm-hmm.
Is it dividing up and putting everything, or your emotions, or tell me about this song, because I don't you know.
I like this one because it's like vague enough where it can be like kind of drug referencey if that's the way you lean. It can be more emotional if that's the way you lean. It is kind of open enough to kind of encompass all of those. I think I probably wrote it about drugs and weed, but I like that it was open-ended enough to kind of do that. The last song on the record does that as well, where it's like you can't really tell if it's from the girl's perspective or the boy's perspective or who you're hearing the story from. You know, you can tell that somebody's leaving, you can tell that somebody's sad, but it's kind of hard to identify, you know, whose version of it you're getting.
Yeah.
And that made me really happy when I was done with that tune as well. But yeah, probably, truth be told, it was basically.
Well, I was going to say it's kind of like a merry-go-round because I heard it both ways the more I listened to it. So that's nice that
Yeah.
I'm doing, Ann and I are doing the right things. We're getting.
No, that's so great. That makes me so happy. That's exactly what it was. What it's there to do. That's so perfect. I love it.
Well, and there was an aspect of it too that I thought is, you know, are we talking about someone moving to Florida? Or are we talking about somebody jumping off a bridge? I shouldn't say it so bluntly, but it was really, you know. For
sure. No, and that's it. And I loved the way. I mean, this is kind of this whole record was kind of, it was almost like it was involuntary. Like I would like get done writing these songs. I'd be like, God, this is crazy that this, you know, kind of dances around itself and doesn't really tell you who it's from. Like it felt like it was, like it was like, I was just like there to like document it basically, because it was like every turn it worked perfectly. And you know, even me, I was writing it and I was like, God, these are like making me think about who is saying this, you know, and like I wrote these, you know, like I wrote this song a little bit ago. So yeah, I was so happy lyrically with the way it tells a story. And if you are going through a separation or a divorce, I mean, it can be very literal. If you're in a relationship that's kind of rocky, you can take a lot of it literally. You can listen to it like almost like, I don't want to compare myself to Springsteen, but there's like kind of a general, you know, timeline, sort of a story that happens through the whole thing too. And yeah, I got really lucky. I feel like it really worked out the way I wanted it to rather.
I'm always jealous of people who can write music for that reason. And one of the songs that I really like is Coffee Cold. Because I would just like to write a song about I'm hoping that you choke. Is what right. Now you know a little bit about me. Is there catharsis in writing something like this?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I used to, that was kind of my joke when I was younger. I used to say, oh, I got to go do surgery or therapy or something like that. And I would go and write and whatever. But yeah, it's for me, it is very, very much. I feel like I was having a really tough time because I didn't have an outlet that way for so long that it was, harder for me to get up and down in my regular life because that is such an important outlet for me. So yeah,
I was going to say this is one of the best lyrics in that Coffee Cold. Listening to Coltrane trying to get right with pain.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you for noticing.
Oh,
honestly, that's one of my favorite lyrics in the whole record. It actually is straight autobiographical. My kids listen to John Coltrane every night when they go to sleep, and that makes me in the top 1% in the world on Spotify of people who listen to John Coltrane.
That's amazing.
It's all the time. It's like every day we listen to it. So yeah, I actually was listening to John Coltrane and I actually was trying to like figure it out and like, you know, get right with everything. But yeah, thank you for noticing that. That's one of my favorite lines on the record.
So when you're writing a song like that and you have such a like epic lyric, like you could just say that over and over again and that would be all we needed to listen to. But do you, like, because it's so strong, do you just like have that be sort of the nucleus and then you're going around it? Or are you like, and maybe you had already answered that, like,
Yeah, no, that's
kind
a
of
good question.
have the image or the situation going and it falls into.
I think that's it, more that one where it, because I will love certain lines, like I'll get done writing, like that was the Coltrane line. I was like, oh yeah, that's perfect. But I don't want that to be the focus of the song because I already have kind of the story is kind of laid out. So I definitely get really excited about little lines, and I will change things, you know, like tighten things up, like change a couple words or whatever. But yeah, that song especially, and that line especially, was there was no like editing. It just was like that was it. But I knew for that song that the thing was going to be ghost and choking and smoke and like I already kind of had that as like the kind of general vibe. So but it is not uncommon to start with a line like that and kind of have that be the, you know, the main focus of the song. That happens quite a bit actually, where that is the process, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, if you were the bar napkin guy listening to things, I'm assuming maybe it was different then too, or maybe not, because you're creating the story and not, oh my gosh, I like whatever just happened there.
Definitely. I think that is a big part of it, is because it's, I don't want to say manufactured, but I'm working on it now, as opposed to before I was just kind of open to whatever. And it worked really well because there are always characters at the bar, and there's, you know, you can create a lot that way. But yeah, I think now, because it's, I don't want to say manufactured, but because I'm working on it and I'm trying to be deliberate about what I'm saying, it tends to kind of sort itself out. Whereas before, I could start with a single lyric, a single idea, and then by the end of the song, it wound up being something different that I had kind of created. Whereas now it's more, I kind of have a general idea and I kind of zero in on it from not just from like a lyrical perspective, but yeah, I guess from like a storytelling aspect too. It's like I kind of have a big picture, and then I can get tighter and tighter and tighter until it's a car on 35, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So.
Well, that's for writing the poetry, I would think, and I'm more of a writer, you know, but as you said, you have the plot line. I think that then you're kind of beholden to that plot line, as opposed to, I have this awesome character I want to fit somewhere.
For sure. And I feel like the characters are great, and I love being able to, you know, build those characters and explore that kind of stuff. But after I started writing a lot, it kind of forces you to be more deliberate. You know, you can't very quickly when you're writing, you know, like if you're reading back what you have written, it gets boring pretty fast. Unless your characters have some type of direction, you know, unless they're doing something, unless you're, you know. And I think so often earlier in my songwriting career, I guess, it was more a focus on the character and being a small portion of that person's day or that character's day. Whereas now it's more of a deliberate, this is what happened, this is the story, how can I explain it in a way that invokes different emotion and, you know, forces people to kind of put themselves into those positions.
You get the feel of that through the album. I mean, I think you do a really good job of kind of getting that.
Thank you.
You do have like there is kind of an arc of where seeing where people go and what happens in different times. I like that much very much. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you. And I really like too that I had tried to do that previously and didn't really do a good job. And I think it was because, or I didn't like it. And I think it was because I was trying to be too tight with it. And this is open and it kind of lets people, you can kind of insert your own whatever into the plot line. And, you kind of build these characters out, with your own stuff. I think that was a big part of it was having that general idea, but being able to zero in on different scenarios. So.
And it feels like if you're looking at the story a little bit from the rearview mirror, it would be easier to take some artistic liberty.
Definitely.
You don't have to make your point the way you would if it was happening as you were.
Definitely. And that too, to be able to have that kind of perspective kind of allows different songs to enter the mix too, there's the Untitled is like kind of a love song almost. And I wouldn't have been able to put that in there if I would have been so focused on creating that image, like telling that one specific story. But because it was open enough, it kind of allowed me to be able to fit that in there as well. And I don't think that's something I would have been able to do pre-COVID. I think that happened because of the writing that I had done and because of the writing that I was able to do because of the time that I had while I was home. So.
It seems like COVID has just given us all a perspective that we never would have had.
For sure. Like I said, it's so weird to be thankful for a pandemic, but like it was so important for me to be able to focus on what makes me happy and focus on what, who I am as a person and what, that stuff. And I don't think that would have been shaken loose if I wouldn't have but if I wouldn't have been seeing all of the stuff that happened over the past year and, and having that perspective and living where I live and, or where we live and, it's all of that stuff added up, I think got me where I was supposed to be. And so I can't really complain about the pandemic in that way, but it's, it really was huge for me to be able to focus on creatively what makes me happy. And, because you don't have time, like this is kind of puts it in perspective. It's easy to spend a lot of time doing stuff you don't want to do, so it's important to focus on what makes you happy,
Well, and when you're stuck in the grind of doing something that, making the money, and we have to make the money to pay the bills, especially, when you're kids and it's easy to get in the grind of it.
For sure. And that's, there are so many people in this country who that is just, that's the cycle, that's the system. And you hop in and you do your thing and you work your 9 to 5 and that works really well for some people. And for me, it just is not good for me at all, and I kind of knew that, but I was so focused on all the other aspects that it was easy to lose sight of, what makes me happy or what, like I said, who I am as a person. So yeah, it was huge for me.
Now, knowing that the pandemic is still with us, but to a lesser degree, are you still doing things very differently?
Yeah, I am. Well, like job wise, I am working construction, so I'm always masked up because I'm in different people's houses and things like that. So we're very, very careful about how we do that. And I'm thankful that I work for the company I work for, the guy I work for, because they're very conscious of it and,
nice.
And very, so it is a relief to deal with that. But yeah, I guess it's so hard for me to, everything in my life is different now. So it's hard for me to be, like what's normal, what's not. I'm definitely wearing masks more often, but I'm in a new place. I'm writing songs again. I got new, band rehearsal. I got all this stuff going on. So it's been a big change for me on a bunch of different levels. But yeah, I am all the way vaccinated though. So I'm like thankful. And I was shocked at how much of a relief it was to have that vaccination. That was crazy for me.
We're
How much.
close. We're
Oh.
both half the way there.
Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. I can't even tell you. It's so great.
Once my parents were vaccinated, that was a sigh of relief.
The way was, yep, for sure.
Yeah.
It's the weight that was, I was actually kind of laughing with the woman who gave me mine. I was like, what a job you have to like just collectively watch the weight come off of all these people. And she's like, it's awesome. Every person that goes through is just so happy. It's so nice to feels like there's a light at the end of the tunnel finally. And for so long we didn't have that. So it's very exciting. Yeah. And I have a show booked. So it's like the whole thing is like it's happening, and it's moving. I'm really excited.
Yeah. Tell us about the show. May 14th.
Yeah, May 14th. It's at Hook and Ladder. The theater, it's going to be so fun. It's like a benefit show, community driven, it's called. And they essentially take food that's going to be thrown away and wasted essentially, and they get it before it gets wasted, and they give it to people who need it. And it's incredible. And so it's a benefit for that. And my friend Jeff Larson is going to be playing it. I grew up with him, and we played shows together forever. We were in bands together. Cole Diamond, Jake Duda, and Pleasure Horse, I think, is the other band. That's too bad. I should have all those memories. I believe that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. Tickets are available. You do have to get tickets because it's like kind of a pod situation. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be awesome. It's coming up and socially distanced, and it's going to be safe. And I'm so excited about it. I can't wait.
And the Hook and Ladder they have had a few shows for a few months now. They do an amazing job.
Yeah, awesome. Just awesome. Yeah, they have it all. I mean, if you go to their website, they have everything there, and you can see where the seats are. You can see how close to the stage you're going to be. Like it is all laid out. They do a really, really good job. I'm really, really excited. And I'm thrilled to be working with Community Driven, and my friend Craig is one of the guys that's involved in that. And I'm really, really happy to be working with him and helping out an awesome cause. And playing Hook and Ladder. Yeah, can't go wrong.
Nice. Now, are you able to rehearse with your band? Will you be full band?
It will be full band. It'll be like half of the set will be full band, and then the other half of the set is going to be me acoustic, and then I'll also have Claire she did the backup vocals on the record. She will be singing with me as well. So I think we're going to do 2 full band, and then 2 acoustic, and then 2 full band, and then 2 acoustic. I think at this point. Nice. But there'll definitely be drums and bass and guitar involved. So.
Nice. Now, have you had an opportunity to play these new songs for people yet?
No, I haven't. And I was actually going to say that out loud. My last show that I played was at a Buffalo Wild Wings in Dinkytown, the Buffalo Wild Wings in Dinkytown. So I'm so looking forward to like playing these songs and getting on a stage again. But no, I haven't. I basically, the only way that I've been able to like show people the tunes is either send them a link to the record itself, or I have been like playing stuff and putting it on Instagram is like basically how I've been able to do it. So yeah, I'm really excited to play, and really looking forward to it.
Do you feel like a kid waiting for Christmas morning, or do you feel like a kid doing the first solo at the piano recital?
No, it's 100% Christmas morning. And I had been playing electric guitar, and just this last like rehearsal I brought my acoustic to it, and I was floored. I was so excited. It sounded perfect. I was just, and so yeah, I'm very much kid before Christmas. I cannot wait. to get out there and play. And yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Nice. Well, May 14th at the Hook and Ladder. And again, they do an amazing job, and it is a great lineup, and it's a great cause. And yeah.
It's going to be so fun. And that, like, that to me, the lineup it's just perfect. Like, they're friends and we know each other. Like, the music works really well together. It's perfect. Like, I'm really looking forward to it. But you got to get tickets. So please go online and get tickets.
Right. I'm assuming they're going to do a streaming of this as well.
I'm not sure on that. I hope so.
I don't know. I mean,
I do not know the answer to that. I should ask Craig. I should have known that beforehand, but I don't know. That would be a good idea. I don't know.
Well, I mean, talk about change post-pandemic. It never would have occurred to me a year and a half ago that anybody would stream anything. And now I think, how could you not? I mean,
how could you not? It's just, everybody does that, right? Isn't that incredible how we kind of have shifted into that, where it just now that stuff is like, oh yeah, we'll just put a camera up, put it live stream, whatever. Like, it's a big part of it. I like that stuff. I'm into that YouTube technology and stuff like that. So I get into it, but yeah, it's crazy. A year and a half ago to think like this is just normal now is kind of remarkable.
It gives the other people availability to go that aren't able to get the tickets or can't afford to buy 4 tickets or whatever. So, and then
Definitely.
you get out there. Yeah,
for sure. No, and it really is an awesome opportunity for people who, like, I grew up in a small town, like an hour like west of Minneapolis, and there are a lot of people out there who would want to see it but probably wouldn't feel super comfortable driving down here, especially given what has taken place over the last however many weeks. So that would be a cool opportunity for them to see it too. By the way, those people, it's fine here. You can come to Minneapolis. It's okay.
it is, well, that is a whole nother aspect of the last year.
That's a whole podcast episode all on
its own, all on its own. Yeah. It is.
Taylor, I came across on Instagram a new punk pop song you put out there.
Yes.
You need to explain this. I was like, what the heck? And then I had to look up. I don't even know. I'm so old. I didn't even know who this person was.
Oh, it's the from the show Parks and Rec, and the goofy Andy, the character's name is, and he plays in a band, and his FBI alter ego is Burt Macklin. And I used to, that is the kind of music that I like grew up listening to, and those were the bands that I like, when I was younger. I played in those bands in basements around, and so I love that stuff. I am a total geek for pop punk, and so yeah, a little bit out of left field though, because all of these songs are so country. There's like slide guitar on a lot of these, and then to have that Burt Macklin pop punk song all of a sudden is kind of jarring. But
it shows the versatility. And then I liked your stripped down version of Everclear's Santa Monica. I was like,
yeah. Oh, I forgot that I did that. Yeah, that was really fun. I love those songs. When I was a kid, I instead of going to Sunday school and all that stuff after church, my parents would just give me the keys to the van, and I would go and listen to music. And it was that kind of stuff. It was Everclear and Third Eye Blind and Matchbox 20, and that was the stuff that was on the top 40. So that was I love that stuff. I love Everclear and all that pop rock stuff. But thank you for liking the stripped down version, because it was kind of a weird thing, but yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I liked it, and I in my head felt the relatable part of, he is very raw and's been through some shit himself, and it's like, here it is, and when you're singing it, it's coming out, and I don't know, I'm just like, I like this.
For sure. And I'm a big fan of when people do covers and they kind of change the tone of the song. Jason Isbell does a cover of Born in the USA that's really minor key and slow and sad, the way the subject matter of the song is. But I love it. Kind of forces you to look at the words a different way. And especially that Santa Monica, it's like all of a sudden you're listening to a song that you've heard a million times, but you're hearing the words, for the first time, or for what feels like the first time. Yeah, I love that stuff.
It's kind of like when you slow it down, it's kind of like what the pandemic has done to us, makes us sit in and listen and kind of soak stuff in instead of go fast, and you hear it, but you don't hear it.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. It has forced us to kind of sit with it and be in the middle of it for a little bit longer than maybe we were comfortable with previously. That's a really good point, actually. I like that a lot. Yeah.
I was going to say, when you were talking about your shot earlier, I heard a song there when you were saying, I can't remember exactly what you said, but I was like, I think that could be a line. I wish we're going to have to listen to it again because I wanted to interrupt, but I was like, I can't do that.
I think you just get some cocktail napkins while you watch people get their shots. Really, that would be
notebooks here. I could grab one.
At least you'd have the video all set for that one.
There you go. Easy.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, yeah. It's. I will go back and listen to it and steal those lyrics. I'm running out.
Nope. No. Just enjoy playing this.
Oh, it's been fun. I kind of had to remind myself that it's only been, because I was working on all that pop punk stuff. I have 5 songs that I was doing on those. And I kind of had to remind myself that this record's only been out for, a month almost, a little over a month. And yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. It's been awesome. I absolutely love it. And I'm super proud of it. But yeah, I kind of had to, you work so hard before it comes out, and then by the time it comes out, it's not like I'm bored with it or I'm over it or anything like that, but it's I'm ready for a new creative endeavor. But to go back and listen to it, and especially like this, to talk lyrics and stuff like that with you guys is awesome. Love it.
Good. It's good. Well, we'll have to work on seeing if we can get tickets for that May 14th, because that sounds like it would be fun. It would be a good.
Oh yeah, please do. It's going to be such a blast.
Yeah.
It's going to be so fun.
Yeah, I like the lineup too. It's a good lineup.
Oh, it's going to be so
all of you guys.
I'm so excited.
I kind of like, the shows like that, because then you get to participate and listen to, like you said, friends, music community and stuff. So it's kind of a win-win there.
For sure. And that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I always love to, anytime I can play guitar and sing for people, I'm into it. But when you can do all that with music that you really enjoy and people that you really enjoy and a cause that makes you feel good, you can't really argue with that. I'm so excited. And I'm really excited to play, but I might be more excited to watch Cole Diamond and watch Jeff. And I'm super excited to see those other sets. So.
Can I put a request in at the end, a finale of all of you doing some sort of We Are the World or something? That would be awesome.
Gosh, that's a wonderful idea. And I actually have the majority of those guys' phone numbers. So I can I will do that. I am going to send some text messages and see if we can get that to work. Oh, that's a really good idea. I love
and raise more money for whatever. Put it on try and
Yes.
sell it. Seriously.
Genius. That is genius.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. I gotta
Every
actually.
now and again, I'm a thinker. Every now and again,
I gotta write that down actually. I'm gonna in like 2 hours. I'm gonna be like, "We are the world." What? Oh, that's a great idea. I love that. I'm totally gonna send.
Well, it doesn't have to be "We Are the World," but
Yeah,
I do think. Yeah.
I honestly, I don't think I could get any of them to do weird.
No, they'll be like, "Don't listen to that crazy lady."
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's good. That's good. Tyler, for folks who are listening, tell people where they can find you online. I will include these in the notes, but
if you Google Tyler Haag music, Haag, it will, all of my music stuff will pop up. But Bandcamp, tylerhaag.bandcamp.com, and you can get the record there, and you can pick your price. You can get it for free if you want, or throw me some money if you want. It's on Spotify. It's on all of the streaming sites, iHeartRadio and Pandora and all of those things. It's pretty much everywhere. But yeah, if you want to throw me some money for it, Bandcamp is the spot.
Bandcamp is a good way to do it. Yes, and to get tickets, again, it's the Hook and Ladder.
Yep, Hook and Ladder. And that, if you just do Hook and Ladder Minnesota, that will pop up. And as soon as you click on their website, everything is right there. They have a great site. They do a good job with that. So
that's good. This has been so nice to talk to you and to hear about the stories. It's nice to meet the face behind the stories.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it so much. This was so fun talking with you guys. I like to talk, so I appreciate you asking questions about the record.
This was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you.